Alright, and hello, this is M-Dog, and we are going to do an arena run, at least do the draft and maybe a couple matches for you today. I know it's been a little while since we've had Hearthstone content, and to be honest, I'm just kind of waiting for them to release a patch and see how things start to develop. We were playing so much there for a while, we've taken a little bit of a break, but I like to come back to it every once in a while and see just how rusty I am. I think we're going to play a Mage today and go through a Mage draft, and we'll probably just talk about the picks, the different cards that are available, and then I'll probably just include one or two matches onto it afterwards. We'll see how it goes. Alright, so this first pick is going to be Blizzard. Now some people really like playing spells in Arena. I think they tend to be a little situational, but they certainly can be good. Vaporize is a very good spell. Secret. It destroys whatever attacks your minion. If you're playing against a smart player, however, and they know how to test for spells, then you're probably not going to get the value you want to out of it. Blizzard is good. It does 2 damage and it freezes the board, so it offers you not only AoE damage, taking out whatever minions have 2 or less health, it also freezes the board, giving you time to maneuver and control the battlefield. So we're going to go with Blizzard here on our first pick. Alright, so we'll probably get a second Blizzard here. It's interesting because this might have been a strong Secrets deck, as we're seeing now we have a second Vaporize as well as a Kyrian Tor Mage. But again, I think the Blizzard's really strong, and so now having 2 of them, we can almost guarantee we're going to have at least one of them come up in most matches. Argent Commander is very strong, and I think that's what we'll go with here. Argent Commander is a 6 cost minion that has not only charge, but it also has Divine Shield. So it's basically like 4 damage removal, and then a 4/3 stays on the board afterwards is one way to look at it. So here we have some interesting choices. A Leper Gnome I like a lot. It's a 1-drop that does at least 2 damage to the hero unless it gets silenced. But if they're silencing your 1-drop, then, well, that's probably favorable for you. Arcane Explosion is pretty good. Does 1 damage to all minions. We already have a couple Blizzards, so might not prioritize that quite as high. Stormwind Knight is okay, but it only does 2 damage. It does have charge, but it only does 2 damage. I think we're going to go with Leper Gnome here. Okay, here is Chillwind Yeti. It's our first 4-drop, and it's very strong. It's strong against everyone. Obviously, people talk about how strong it is against priests, and that is true because it has 4 attack. It falls in between Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death, so it can't be destroyed by either of those hard removals. We have another Arcane Explosion, which again is fine. Mana Worm is okay, dependent on, you know, a turn 1 Mana Worm followed by a turn 2 or 3 spell, if this is still around, can get really strong for early game. But the Yeti is just consistently strong, so that's what we're going to draft here. And here we have 2 very good mage spells. We're going to go with Flame Strike. AoE removal is really strong in Hearthstone. But Fireball is obviously really good as well, doing 6 damage. You can take out that big minion, or you can use that to do direct damage to the enemy hero. But again, we've got 2 Blizzards. Flame Strike complements that. We've got a lot of AoE removal here early in this draft. While Pyromancer is okay, especially since we're going to be casting spells, we could try to use that to our advantage. But Argent Commander is so good that I am completely comfortable getting 2 of these, even this early. Having 2 6-drop minions, knowing that they're Argent Commanders, I'm fine with that. And here we will get a Mana Worm. Archmage is alright. We don't want another 6-drop. The spell damage would be nice, and it does have a big body on it, but we honestly just don't want another 6-drop this soon. We also have our 2 Blizzards, which cost 5 mana, and as a Mage, we're probably not going to have quite as many minions as you would in many of the other classes. Certainly our hero ability doesn't create minions like things like the Paladin and the Shaman do. So the Warlord maybe not quite as much value, and having another 1-drop is good, especially one that potentially could grow based on what spells we get moving forward. Okay, this is South Sea Deckhand is pretty low on the value list. especially without having weapons, but even with weapons, I don't often draft it. So we've got a Fen Creeper that has Taunt and an Ironbeak Owl, which will have Silence. The Silence would be nice. It'd be our first 2-drop, but you really don't want to play an Owl on turn 2 unless, there actually is something to silence. Fen Creeper's okay. It's got the big body on it. It's one of the few Taunt cards that I do kind of like, and I think we will go with that here. Alright, a third Blizzard is probably a little overkill, and Twilight Drake is really strong, so we're going to go Twilight Drake here and get our second pretty solid 4-drop. And now we'll get our third 4-drop with the Ancient Brewmaster. So right now we could potentially brew an Argent Commander to give its Divine Shield back. We could brew a Fen Creeper to heal it, would be the only reason. You really probably wouldn't brew a Twilight Drake. And the rest, so far we don't have anything that works perfectly with this, but for 4 mana, it's a 5 attack with 4 defense, so that's pretty solid. It does get killed by Shadow Word Death in terms of a priest, but priest is just one out of many classes, and the Brewmaster, Ancient Brewmaster is really solid, and the Grimskull Oracle is terrible, and the Dalaran Mage, I just don't really like it. It only has 1 attack. You get the spell damage, but I don't think it's worth it. Okay, so now we could do a little bit of healing here with Voodoo Doctor, or we could go Arcane Explosion. I think Arcane Explosion is going to be the way we go. We've talked about secrets, and I'm still, unless there's just a pick where the secret stands out as the only really good pick, we're going to probably stay away from that. Arcane Explosion does 1 damage to all enemy minions, and if we can get something with spell damage, it would do 2 damage to all enemy minions, so we'll take that. Okay, all these are pretty good picks. I like Venture Co. Mercenary, especially as a mage where you're not playing tons of minions, because it is so solid. Basically, if you play the Venture Co. Mercenary, you're going to find out real quick if your opponent has removal or not, because this is going to have to be a priority. It's got a big body on it, it does 7 attack, and for only 5 mana cost, that's really solid. Dragon League is okay, but because it only has 2 attack on both its main and its secondary body, I just don't like it that much. It certainly doesn't help you come back if you've gotten a little behind on the battlefield. Earthen Ring Farseer is good, and we don't have any 3-drops, but I think Venture Co. is a little too strong. I think we have to pick that. Defender of Argus, one of the best cards in the game. It's maybe not quite as valuable as a mage, because if we don't have minions up, then there isn't as much chance that you're going to be able to give 2 things +1/+1 in taunt. However, so far we've gotten some pretty decent minions, just not many low-cost ones, but we will go Defender of Argus here over the Arcanist and another Twilight Drake. Polymorph for hard removal is a must. Arcane Intellect would be nice for card draw, but got to go Polymorph here. And we'll go Novice Engineer for card draw. That's a pretty easy choice. Windfury Harpy is okay. Mana Worm, we've already got 1. It is okay, but we'll go Novice Engineer. We need card draw for sure. And this is between Faceless Manipulator and Big Game Hunter. Big Game Hunter can be very good if your opponent has big minions. With the current meta being so fast, even in Arena, I do worry that this would get wasted and it ends up just being a 3-drop that's a 4/2, which is honestly decent attack. It's above average attack, but only 2 health. Kind of stinks. So we're going to go Faceless Manipulator. One thing we could do is, we could Faceless Manipulate something we already have, or you can use it to copy one of your opponent's minions that is placed. So this will be our first 3-drop, and I think we will go ahead and choose the Flesh-Eating Ghoul, as strong as both of these cards are, really. Spiteful Smith, obviously, if you have a weapon, is even better, but even by itself, it's, got such a big body. Its 4 attack is okay, but it's a decent 5-drop even without weapons, and Stranglethorn Tiger is great. However, Flesh-Eating Ghoul will be our first 3-drop, and we might be able to build it up. Now we're going to go Bloodsail Raider. I do that because I think it's important to have, a few good 2-drops, and this is an average one. It's a little below average maybe because it's 2 attack instead of 3, but it does have 3 health instead of 2 health. So we'll take Bloodsail Raider here, and that is only our second 2 mana cost minion, so it's important we get that. We'll take a second Twilight Drake or a Vaporize, and sort of thinking about this as we talk out loud here. Arcane Golem, it's alright. I just would not want to play that early game, because you are giving your opponent an extra mana. So if you do that early, they're going to have such an advantage on what they can play moving forward in the match. I'm just a little shaky on that. A second Twilight Drake again would be pretty decent though. Vaporize would be okay as well. It'd be a secret. The only thing we have that really benefits from that in terms of playing it would be the Mana Worm. But I think we'll go on the safe side here and get Twilight Drake. Mirror Entity is a nice secret if you can play it at the right time when your opponent has no choice but to play a decent minion, because you're going to get a copy of it. But I think Direwolf Alpha here might be the play. We need lower costing minions to kind of help this mana curve, and this one does benefit other minions, can boost their attack, whatever's next to it. So we'll go Direwolf Alpha. Arcane Missile or Arcane Intellect. Silverhand Knight is great, but we have 3 5-drop minions and 2 5-drop spells. I tend to think that we need to do something like Arcane Intellect or Arcane Missiles. The card draw, we get 2 cards. You basically get an extra card for 3 mana. But this helps cycle through your deck to get to other good cards. I think we will go with Arcane Missiles though. Frostbolt is very good removal, and it also freezes. We'll take that. A second polymorph over these, which are pretty subpar in terms of the minions that are available there. Shattered Sun Cleric or Ooze. And this is a hard choice. We're going to end up going Shattered Sun Cleric because it is a 3-drop and we need them. But listen, Ooze is one of the best, if not the best, minion 2-drop minions. It's 3/2 like you want it, and when you're playing against Warrior, Paladin, or even Warrior, Paladin, Rogue, or even Shaman, there are so many times where bringing an Ooze out is so important. But I think Shattered Sun Cleric is one of the best minions in the game, to be honest. It's only 3, and it has a 3/3, which that's what you're looking for. The 3 mana cost, you basically want it to be a 3/3. I mean, that's kind of what you're expecting. And it also gives someone else 1/1, so it's just so strong. Ogre is very strong too, but if anything, we've got a need for 3-drops right now. Really 2 and 3-drops. Okay, so we could go Wild Pyromancer to get that other 2-drop. Of course, we could get another Argent Commander as well. I don't think we'll get Counterspell here. So right now we've got 2 Argent Commanders, Venture Code, Fin Creeper, Faceless Manipulator, and a Flame Strike down there at the bottom. For 2-drops, they're all basically support 2-drops. I think we've got to get Wild Pyromancer here. We're almost done with this draft, and if there's one thing we need is a little more efficient minions, especially early game. So we'll go Wild Pyromancer. And this is probably, I mean, it's definitely between Silvermoon Guardian and Ice Lance. I guess if there was, the only thing this sort of combos with right now that we have would be our Frostbolt. So you play Frostbolt and then Ice Lance, and you could take out something big because it's going to do 4 damage on top of the 3 you've already done. So that could be 7 damage to one target, but it has to be combo. This only does damage if the target's already frozen. So I think we're actually going to get Silvermoon Guardian here. Water Elemental is an easy choice here, even though we've got a lot of 4-drops. The Water Elemental is one of the more solid Mage class minions, or cards in general, and these 2 are very weak, so we'll go Water Elemental. Okay, and this is probably going to be Sorcerer's Apprentice, another solid 2-drop, which we need. I hate to pass on spell damage again, but that's just kind of the way this draft has worked out, so we'll go Sorcerer's Apprentice. And for the last pick, we could get Mind Control Tech. Especially early game, I do think it's possible that our opponents could build up a little bit of a battlefield lead. In other words, have more minions on the board than we do. And if someone got really aggressive on us, Mind Control Tech would possibly swing it back. And we need the 3-drop, so that's why it's tempting to go that. It's a 3/3/3, but I think Defender of Argus is so strong that even though our mana curve is pretty messed up right now, and this is our last pick, I think it's worth getting a second Defender of Argus. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, so weird mana curve. We finally did get a couple more 2-drops to help a little bit, but 3s just were not there, which is unfortunate. So let's see how we can do with this draft. Looking at it, I think we can get some wins. I don't think we'll get past, probably this is like a 4 or 5 win deck. Ultimately, I mean, the spells are pretty strong. We've got some decent removal, but ultimately the problem is going to be we just sort of didn't get the best trading minions. You know, if we can get to turn 4 and still be in good shape, then I'd say it's a coin flip. But making it to turn 4 without putting ourselves in pretty rough shape could be a problem. We'll see how it plays out, though. And again, I'll probably try to at least put a couple matches after this draft just so that you can see a couple of examples of how this deck performed. Okay, so we are trying to give an example here of how this Mage deck that we drafted performs. And let's see how this goes, see what our starting hand looks like, see if we can get a 2-drop in our hand.
Jaina versus Uther. I will fight with honor.
Okay, so we'll keep the Frostbolt and the Sorcerer's Apprentice and go ahead and send the Argent Commander back. And the Paladin is taking quite a while to choose his opening hand. So he took 3 cards. That 4th card is the one he kept, and then this is the one he just top decked.
I am sorry.
Hello.
What you want?
So early game here has been pretty even because he's got this True Silver Champion here to help him maintain some advantage.
Reporting for duty.
Did he really just attack us to the face? That seemed a little weird unless he's just planning on consecrating this turn. Sort of a strange play, but he may have something in mind here. He equality'd on our Drake, but then he didn't hit it with the True Silver Champion. So he left it out there and took the 4 damage anyway. And now I would think he has to consecrate or do something to get rid of it. I don't know. So strange.
What to do? What to do?
We're going to go ahead and polymorph this. The only problem with this play is we are now really vulnerable to consecrate. But we got more damage in with our Drake. We know we have Flame Strike next turn. And we also have a taunt card, which can be really strong as well, according to what he plays here. But we've been able to keep our Drake alive for a long time.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Flame Strike's not bad here, to be honest. It's not bad at all. We know we have 2 damage here unless he silences it. If we get any more damage here, I mean, we're going to almost be at the point where we can just start pinging him every turn and kind of be okay. So there's a Humility. He top decked a Humility, put that on this to change its attack. We'll probably go ahead and Novice Engineer here next turn just to get another card draw, and then possibly play Fin Creeper after that.
I got the best deals anywhere.
Well, let's see what we get here.
I hope you like my invention.
Now we could do 5 damage, but this is actually a tough decision. I think he would have consecrated already if he had it. So what we're saying here is that if he consecrates, it's because he top decked it. And that's really the worst case scenario here, is him consecrating.
My shield for Argus.
Now he's got taunt. So what's he gonna attack? Yeah, you gotta attack the dire wolf there. And that should be game over. Unless he has a silence, it's game over. Or unless he heals, I should say. We have 11 damage on the board right now, so it should still be over. He's
Well played.
alright. So there's an example of the Mage deck that we drafted, and yeah, the little bit of removal spells that we were able to use there, that really got us, kept the momentum going, and put us in a position of strength so that we could ultimately win that. So again, we're just trying to play a couple matches here just to look at how this Mage deck we drafted performs. Let's see if we can get against a different opponent this time and see what that's like. So this is going to be against a priest. Typically you would say, wow. Typically you would say that priest beat mage. I think typically that's the common sort of idea, is that the priest class really matches up well against mage. In arena you never know, because obviously with not being constructed you don't get to always pick the cards that you would normally want to pick. So it can be a little different, but let's see how this goes.
Hello.
It's time for a little blood. Bring me steel.
So the question here, is it worth holding on to Leper Gnome so that we have an extra health on the Twilight Drake, or is it better to go and get the 2/1 out there? I think we'll hold on to it, because what would happen is he might trade with the Master Swordsmith and take out our Leper Gnome, and then we'd really have to hero power this to kill it. He's going to Shadow Word Pain here. And then, oh, that's a nice little play there. May have a silence.
Squire, attend me.
Ready, sir.
We've got some Drake on the board. I will say that. The one thing that would be a great play if he had it for the priest would be to silence all minions. It would be really good for him if he had that. It'd turn both of our Drakes into 4/1s, and it would get rid of the Leper Gnome. Unbelievable. I cannot believe that that hurt me instead of him. That's disgusting. So the question is, will we stabilize here or not? So we are one turn away from mind control, which is no fun, but let's see what he does here. We have stabilized, at least for now. And he's trying to figure out what to do. Shadow Word Death kills the Drake. Shadow Word Pain kills our defender. But with 4 attack, at least for right now, the ghoul is out of range of any of the shadow words. So there's the pain. And now Shadow Word Death takes out the ghoul, as he has moved it to 5 attack. It looks like that might be what he does here. Okay, so he's just going to trade with it. That would appear. He has 4 mana left to spend.
You gotta be kidding me!
So if he has mind control, he'll definitely take our minion here. This card he's been holding on to for a while. There it is. Fun little mind control. Yeah, I think we wait. Wait till next turn.
You call that a win?
Alright, so this takes that out. Actually, Flame Strike takes them both out. And if anything, you need to slow play a priest. Most times, you need to, you don't want to get over aggressive. Mind Blast, yuck. Priests are tough because, you know, I'm sitting here saying you want to slow play them. But then again, priests get really strong late game. So I think what we'll do here is we'll just ping this and then bring our Argent Commander in and kill it. And we're trying to wait and play Direwolf Alpha on a turn where we need it to increase our attack. So it just hasn't been the case yet.
Is someone injured?
That's really too bad that he got that little combo together there.
You call that a win?
What to do? What to do?
Well, we definitely want to take this out. Problem with leaving this alive is that he can continue to heal it up to 7 health. I don't know that that really matters right now. We'll go ahead and take that out.
Are you ready for this?
Alright, so now we need 7 attack. On both, really.
We must cleanse the Sunwell.
Oh, I just dropped that in the wrong spot. Cannot believe that. I thought I let it go right here, but obviously I didn't.
Get behind me.
Push forward.
Oh, if you're sure.
Push forward.
Well played.
He's gonna have 1 health next turn unless we draw something to do damage.
Well played.
Alright, so another pretty good match with our Mage deck here that we drafted, and now we've got a couple examples of how this deck works. We could go ahead and at least have something to put up there on our channel. As always, thanks for watching, and whenever I end up playing more matches with this drafted deck, I'll try to post those up as well. But I wanted, because it's been a few days, I wanted to at least go ahead and get something up there with some Hearthstone. So again, this is M-Dog, and I appreciate you watching.